Hi and welcome back. Okay, in this video we're going to talk about adding some bumpiness to the surface of an object. And now these bumpiness parameters are added with something called, well, sometimes it's called a bump map. Some people call them normal maps. Normal has to do with the way light bounces around, and we're not going to get into that because that's all kinds of math you don't need right now. But it works pretty much like these image maps, these color maps here. And we make them from images. They're just usually shades of gray, and they're applied at the same time as the images to add more effects. And this is another reason why we don't apply images directly to surfaces. We create materials, and then we can have all kinds of effects that are part of that surface. So let's get going. Okay, so we're going to go back to our assets, import new assets in our course assets here, and here we go. We've got 4 different images called Bump 01 through Bump 04. Look like brick walls, but they're gray. They've got varying amounts of roughness. We're just going to grab this first one here and bring it in. So we click Import, and there it is. It's in the inspector here. We'll come in. We're going to change this texture type to normal map. We get a few parameters here, and you can experiment with those later. It changes the bumpiness, how much deflection you actually have based on the different shades of gray, whether it's sharp or whether it's kind of fuzzy. And there's a slider here, and of course there's the text box to just enter the numbers directly. But then we click Apply. And look, it changes the texture from the gray to this sort of blue, and it actually looks like it's no longer flat. So now it's a bump map. And now that it's a bump map, we can add it to our plane material. So we're going to come down here, we're going to select plane material, and then come up to the inspector and change it from specular to bumped specular. That gives us this extra little section down here called normal map. Now I come down and grab my Bump 01 and just drag it to right there. And look at that. If you look down in the preview or in the scene view, all of a sudden it looks like there's some bumpiness there. But there's a problem. And that's because of the tiling. See, the base color is tiled at 5 by 5, and the normal map is still tiled at the default 1 by 1. So we need to change that. And you probably don't need me to help you figure out how to fix that, but as long as we're here, just say go into the tiling in the normal map, change the X to 5, then change the Y to 5, and voila, looks great, all nicely tiled. And actually that repeating pattern is a little less obvious now. A couple other things we could do to make it even less obvious, but let's just change the tiling all back to 1. So these are a little bigger. Don't have that issue with the repeating pattern anymore. See, it kind of looks like a glazed brick. Some of the other bump maps that we had more bumpiness to the surface of the bricks. You could go in, you could change that. You could change the specular colors on the bricks, make them look like more weathered, little less new shiny bricks. So anyway, all these things that you can play with and come up with some pretty interesting textures. So that's it for now.